All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, July 3rd. We got a 10-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. A little bit different than yesterday when we had 19 games. But like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. Yesterday, we had a lot of action. We go 6-6 from a win-loss perspective. The good news and why it didn't end up all that bad was all of our smaller unit plays ended up being some of the losses, and we hit, the standard play, I guess you could say, of yesterday. So we did come out in the red, though, minus 0.04, not 0.4, 0.04 units. So again, it's not terrible. Definitely had a lot of entertainment value yesterday with all of those plays on the board there. And unfortunately, the ride of the day, Trey, my man, I feel bad even just dropping the womp bump because Trey had a hell of a run with the ride of the day. The Brewers game number 2 does not come through, but you can see here, he tied the record for the days in a row cashed, but way up there in terms of the streak profit over that 4-day stretch that he had, 2.3 units. So shout out to Trey, the leader in the clubhouse in terms of units profited since tracking the ride of the day. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day, give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays. You're on the tracker, all that jazz, right? If you do lose, you got to face the womp womp. And like I said, it feels wrong. Feels like I'm wronging Trey dropping the womp womp after 3 great days and just 1 loss. But rules are rules. Let's go ahead and dive into today's slate. Guys, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Starting off with Miami taking on Minnesota. This is one of our winners yesterday. We had Minnesota on the money line. Today, we have Yuri Perez on the mound against David Festa. I think I have a direction that I want to go in this one, and it's just going to be Twins team total over. Though the offense has not looked all that great lately, 3 games in a row, 0-0, and then 2 runs scored yesterday, I do think this could be a decent matchup for them. I like the Twins overall, but not necessarily Festa on the mound. Perez is going to throw a lot of fastballs, as we know. The Twins, a decent fastball hitting team, and they have a lot of guys. I think all but, one guy in their lineup is below, everyone is above 700 OPS against righties in the last 30 days. So could be a decent spot to take a peek at them. Team total over 3.5 is probably the only thing I do here. But I guess I'd look at, Minnesota money line and the over if you needed to pick a side or a total. In general, I just like the hybrid version. Team total over for the Twins. Simple enough. Go score 4 runs for us. All right, next one I don't have too much interest in. It's going to be Houston taking on Colorado. Kyle Freeland on the mound for Colorado. I do like Freeland. He's really good against lefties, though, and I don't even know if there is a true lefty in this Houston projected lineup today. So there goes his chance of being very good, right? It looks like all righties and then 2 switches, which they'll be batting from the right side because he's a lefty. So any sort of angle of backing Colorado here, not so great. Do I love the idea of Brandon Walter on the other side of things? Not so much. I mean, he's been decent for the most part, right? He has that 1 bad start against the Angels, but other than that, he's given you 6 innings of good baseball. So it's probably Houston. Maybe there's some sort of a parlay piece for us today like they were yesterday. That's probably where I'd go. I don't mind the idea of their team total over, but again, it's in cores. You're going to have a really, really high line. So the only thing that I'd probably want to dissect throughout the day here is what can we match this up with in terms of a parlay piece? Maybe it's a Houston and Dodgers parlay type of spot. That could be something that we get behind. We'll see. And I know we did it in the NBA, but I think we could bring out some more slimy little parlays here in the MLB, in which you take like 2 favorites, put them together. It's gross, but you kind of like it at the same time. All right, Washington taking on Detroit. I guess this is kind of a weird one here because of the pitcher on Detroit, right? We have Dietrich Enns on the mound. Don't know too much about him. He has 1 start this year, 5 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned, 4 Ks, 2 walks against the Athletics, though. So again, do we put a lot of weight into that or whatnot? I'm not sure. He obviously has a ton of, I think he's only pitched in the majors like when we talked about him last week, like 5 years ago, right, or something like that. But he has a ton of minors experience over his stretch of his career. He's a 34-year-old dude. But to me, it's like, okay, that brings this Tigers team down a little bit, right? But Jake Irvin's on the other side of things, and do we really have any faith in Jake Irvin? I don't know if I do. But then on the flip side, Jake Irvin is a righty, right? And this is that's the hand that the Tigers don't necessarily smack around. So it's a tough one. I think I still lean Detroit. I just think that they do have the better offense in general. I don't know how much we can trust out of Enns, but in that one start, we did see a lot of fastballs from him. That's arguably the worst pitch that the Washington Nationals are seeing right now. So that would be good. But, again, it's kind of a weird spot not knowing too much about this guy. So I'll lean Detroit. Also, don't mind the idea of an over. I do think that, this is never out, especially once we get to the Washington bullpen. So maybe an over or just a Detroit team total over. My one concern with taking that, and I know I'm throwing a lot of, hey, I like this, but here's my concern. That's kind of how you got to think sometimes. My one concern with the team total over is it is against a righty. If Jake Irvin was a lefty, I think I might be all over it because Detroit hits lefties so well. But he's a righty, so there is a lot of give and take in this one. I'd still go Detroit in the over, but it's a thin lean, I will say that. Hey guys, real quick, if you do want to support us, help us grow, and get some great merch at the same time, make sure to head over to fademe.store. You can also go to guybostonsports.com/store, whichever one's easier. There'll be a link in the description as well, and I'll put it in the pinned comment. Go pick up some merch, though. We have the GMBLR hat here. I don't want to say that word in case anyone's watching, but just sound it out. You know what it means, right? If you know, you know. We got a bunch of cool stuff over on the store, though. Right now, I'm wearing the They Don't Boo Nobody's tee. It's got a nice back design and everything like that. So again, great quality product, great prices. If you do want to support us and help us grow and get some great merch at the same time, head over to fademe.store. guybostonsports.com/store will take you there as well. When I see orders come through every day, I'm like, this is absolutely awesome because we put so much time and effort into this, and it's not like this big moneymaker. We spend a lot of time with samples, and a lot of money goes into the merch, right? So the fact that we see some support and everything like that really does make my day. So yeah, if you want to make my day, head over there, fademe.store. Back to the plays. All right, next up we have Toronto taking on the Yankees. What a game yesterday, right? That one ends up finishing 11-9 for Toronto. They've now won 4 straight games, 7 of their last 3. The Yankees have lost 3 straight games, and in 2 of those, we were on the wrong side. That is why the Yankees are on the DMB graveyard. So even though, and I do think I do lean towards the Yankees today, I will not be locking that in as a final play, just because the Yankees have scorched us. We got to, it's good to take a pause and take a beat every now and then. So, yes, I still do like them today. I think that they can get to Chris Bassett here. Now, in his last start against them, they kind of did, right? 5 2/3, 4 earned on 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, but 2 home runs. Now, that was in Yankee Stadium. Obviously, if the roof is open in Toronto, that's going to probably lead us to an over as well. But one thing I will give Bassett is he's going to keep the ball on the ground unless he elevates that sinker. So even if that roof is open, runs could be hard to come by here, but not enough for me to go lean towards the under. So I like the Yankees and the over. Yankees team total over, maybe if you do want to get, precise with it and not have to back Clark Schmidt, who we haven't really talked about yet. But I don't think I mind Clark Schmidt in this spot here. He's got to start against this Toronto team. I think it might have been in the same game, at least the same series earlier this year. 5 innings pitched, just 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. He did walk a lot of guys, but still a little bit better than even Bassett did. So I like the Yankees in this spot. I just won't be pulling the trigger on them myself because I feel like I'm the Yankees hex right now. If I take them, all of a sudden their offense just goes to absolute crap. So yeah, it's probably a free spot today if you like the Yankees because I won't be on them. But again, the over is something I'm considering if that roof is open. But I do think, it's going to rely on if Bassett's either a little off, right? That's going to help the Yankees money line and that sinker be lifted up into the air, especially with that roof open. All right, Mets taking on Milwaukee. These two played a doubleheader yesterday. Mets won game 1, 7-2. Or was it? Yeah, second game they won 7-2, right? And then 7-3? Whatever, 7-2, 7-3. They split yesterday. I can't remember which was the first or second game now, score-wise. I do know that the Mets won the second game and lost the first game because, of course, we had them in the first, right? But in terms of where we go here, we do have pitchers on the mound that I think could be viable. We have Quintana and Peterson. Now, I would say Peterson's in a little bit better of a spot, but Quintana, in his career against this current lineup that's starting for the Mets here, 81 plate appearances against, a 27.2% K rate, only a 6% walk rate, an average against of 216, but that only jumps up to a 217 expected batting average against. WOBA at 260, expected WOBA 267, so I do like the spot here. David Peterson is really what I'm focusing on in terms of, we'll get to our play in a second, but I think that he's going to be very good here against the Brewers. The Brewers are a team that already hit the ball on the ground. David Peterson, a phenomenal pitcher at keeping the ball on the ground. This season at home, 2.9 in terms of ground ball to fly ball rate. You know what I mean? Like 3 ground balls for every fly ball is crazy. His average launch angle in 59 plate appearances against this current Brewers roster, minus 2.7%. So I like a lot of balls on the ground today. Pause. But I'm also kind of trusting Quintana a little bit, right? This Mets team against lefties isn't all that tremendous. So I'm hoping that, Peterson can fight off a good Milwaukee lineup against lefties. Peterson's a lefty, FYI. But I like the first 5 under 5. You can get that right now. I believe it's like minus 120. If you want to go under 4.5 for plus money, be my guest. I like both these pitchers to at least start decently today, okay? So I'm going to lean towards that. It's probably going to be a final play. If I had to pick a side here, I would definitely trust David Peterson over Quintana. And if you look at the bullpens, it's like you kind of have, obviously with what happened yesterday, a lot of guys going and everything like that. You kind of got some diciness in the Mets bullpen. Milwaukee's bullpen, kind of in a similar situation, but some of their their setup guys and Merrill, their closer, they're in a little bit better. So maybe Milwaukee gets an edge later on. So if you don't like the idea of an under and you want to back a side here, maybe it's Mets first 5. I do have a couple player props. I don't think that we get down on these, but did consider Vientos under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. The reason I don't like that is necessarily not necessarily a big reason, but Quintana, who does throw the sinker a lot, he hits the sinker well. Pete Alonso, don't mind his under 1.5 bases. Again, kind of a little worried about the pitch mix. He hits the sinker pretty well as well. And then same reason for Luis Torrens and Tyrone Taylor. All of those guys, very good splits in terms, actually Torrens not so much, but very good in terms of going up against a lefty in favor of the under, but they hit that sinker, and that is Quintana. He throws like 50% of the time. Next up, Atlanta taking on the Angels. Let's jump into our dashboard here so I can kind of walk you through what I'm thinking. I'll explain how to get access to our dashboard right after this, so just stay tuned for that. But realistically, I like the first 5 under in this one as well. Now, if we take a peek at Jose Soriano pitching, nothing is like all that great in terms of what he's doing, except for one thing, right? Look at this, ground ball to fly ball rate, one of the best in the entire league doing so, because he throws that sinker that is very, very good. Now, Atlanta does hit the sinker well. I will give you that. You can see that with the runs above average here for their lineup. But they're hitting it well, keeping it on the ground, kind of like that. We flip it over to Bryce Elder, who has really been bad at home this year, but look what he does really well as well. He's going to throw the sinker too. And hopefully he can keep the ball in the park and everything like that, because neither one of these teams is all that good against the right hand. And that is what we're seeing today. And even looking at, the pitch mix, sinker heavy, you go to the slider next. That's a decent pitch against throw against the Angels, but sinker heavy, this is probably going to be a grind. And right now you can get 5.5. This total's 9, so 9 through 9 innings is 1 run per inning in terms of the total that they have it set right now. 5.5, that's a half run over the amount of innings that we'd be looking at in the first 5. So that's sports better math to me in a sense. We have a little bit of value there, and again, neither one of these guys is all that great of a pitcher, but I do think that this ground ball rate and the righties sort of spot and the fact that they throw a sinker, a trustworthy pitch for unders, could be looking pretty damn good. So I like the first 5 under 5.5 in this one. In terms of where we'd go from a total perspective, a side perspective, I do think the Braves are the better lineup, and I kind of want to trust them. But my thing is with Jose Soriano, it's almost like when he comes off of a bad start, which he did, 4 innings, 8 earned, 9 hits against Washington. He allowed a ton in 4 innings. He bounces back really, really well, whereas Bryce Elder just has kind of been mediocrely bad. So I want to get to the Braves because I think that that's just a better offense. But at plus 134, might be leaning towards the Angels here, especially if I think Soriano could pitch fairly well. So maybe that's crazy. Maybe it's not. It is kind of what I'm thinking in this one. All right, access to the dashboard is simple. GuyBostonSports.com. Head over to the members area. Now, I'm not logged in, so you're probably going to see exactly what I see if you are a first-time user. It's going to say, hey, before you get that dashboard, you do need a membership. We have 2 memberships active right now that are available. The All Sports Dashboard membership and the MLB Dashboard membership. MLB, self-explanatory. You only get the MLB Dashboard every day. All Sports, you get every dashboard that we have Right now, it is just the MLB dashboard, but the reason, and I say it all the time, but for new people, the reason we leave this one available is because whatever price you jump in and on board with us at, so say $6.99, if this price goes up, as long as you keep that subscription active, you'll stay at your entry price. So that's why we allow people to have that. Now, if you are logged in and you head over to the MLB dashboard, which is under the members area, right, you'll see this dashboard each and every day. You can open it up, you can print it out, download it, zoom in, whatever you want. You get each and every game broken out in a visual format. Sometimes, you'll see, I guess, like, where's ends? Ends doesn't have some of this data because of his one start and a small enough sample size. So if you ever see blanks or something, it's due to that. But 99% of the time, you're going to get everything. We do have some bullpen imports, which probably hopefully will be done by the time that this video comes out. But again, you see each and every game broken out in a visual format. This is not going to be something that just spits out at you, hey, this is the play today. This is just a research tool that we built to help you consolidate and, I guess, optimize your research process, make it more efficient. I built this for myself a couple years ago so that I could get research and get it done quickly before recording videos, so I didn't sound like an idiot talking about stuff I didn't know or something like that, right? So if you have a 9 to 5 or anything like that, this is great to look at in the morning, right afterwards, because it's saving you time going to 8, 9, 10 different websites. So that's really what it is. I would incorporate this in your research process, but I'm not going to sell a fool's gold or whatever telling you that this is like an AI thing that's going to spit out a play. No, you're still going to have to use your noggin, but this is a great research tool and a great starting point. So consider going over to GuyBostonSports.com. Consider becoming a member today. Appreciate you if you do. All right, Cubs taking on Cleveland. We cashed Cubs 2 days in a row, so that's good. Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd. That's great because they're lefties. We do have a lefty on the mound today, right? Cade Horton, is he pitching? I believe that's what we have. He's not a lefty, he's a righty, right? So we don't have a lefty on the mound today, which is, guess, bad because Cleveland definitely hits righties a little bit better, but even when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. They're really not hitting much as of right now, and the one thing that I will say, even looking at, the Cade Horton pitch mix, it's going to be fastball 51% of the time. Cleveland not hitting the fastball whatsoever, 30th in terms of the last 30 days, runs above average. So this is a tough one either way because you guys, I feel like I make it pretty clear. I don't like the idea of teams sweeping other teams. I know that the numbers might not, impose that or anything, and I should take each game in a vacuum. I get it, but still, it's in the back of my mind. I'm always afraid of the sweeps, which we've already taken the Cubs twice in the series. Do we really roll with it again? I mean, technically, even if they lose, we'd go 2-1. They'd be profitable, but I kind of like the spot just because of the fastball. But I do think Cleveland, that was close last night. I think that they might pull one out. So I do lean towards the Cubs. I don't think I can get there myself today because, one, I don't fully want to back Cade Horton. I just like the fastball. So maybe it's a Cleveland team total under if we can get behind that type of thing. And they can even win this one 4-2 or something like that, as long as they don't get 5 runs. Maybe, just maybe, that's something that we do. But again, I'm kind of conflicted if you couldn't tell. So don't mind the idea of an under. Don't mind the idea of a Cleveland team total under, and I guess Chicago for a side. Now, in terms of player props, do have a couple that I'm kind of circling here. One of them's maybe a little crazy. Jose Ramirez, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. We didn't really talk too much about the pitcher on the other side of things, but if we still focus on Cade Horton for a second, we know that he's going to throw the fastball. Jose Ramirez hits the fastball well, but he strikes out a little bit more against it. But the next pitch is the slider, and his WOBA does drop. He's also worse against righties as a switch hitter, so I think this could be a play. The only reason I like it is because we're getting plus 105. So FYI, it's a plus money play. The other two that I'm considering would be Bo Naylor. Similar reason. It's going to be that fastball slider combo. And then Angel Martinez. Very similar reasons. He's batting just 204 against righties so far this season. The fastball slider combo could be something that we're interested in. Now, we didn't really, like I said, talk about the other side of things. Cleveland's pitching Luis Ortiz. He's going to throw a decent pitch mix. The reason I don't necessarily love the idea of an over is because he's going to go fastball slider as 2 of his main pitches. The cutter and the sinker are also in there, but Chicago not hitting either of those fastball or slider pitches well right now. So that's kind of why I like the idea of an under. But again, it might just be a Cleveland team total under. We kind of shrink our possibilities. Aim small, miss small, that type of thing. Arizona, San Francisco. This is a tough one. You have Arizona, who I would deem the better offense. I mean, obviously, last night happens. We cashed Arizona's team total over, but that was a 6-5 win. I think that went to extras, too, if I'm not mistaken, 10 innings. But on the other side, if I do think Arizona still is the better offense, okay? But you flip it over, and it's like, well, Robbie Ray's pitching, and that dude's obviously very, very good. Has 1 start against Arizona this year. Not all that tremendous, but not all that bad. Struck out 9, walked 3 through 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. So again, not terrible, but it's not like, he was shut out against them. His career 51 plate appearances against, 295 average against. The problem is Brandon Pfaadt's on the other side of things, and he stinks, right? Like, I gave this guy so much of a leash and wanted him to be good, and though he's looked a little bit better, it's against Miami, Colorado, I guess Toronto will give him that, Seattle, and Atlanta. He's had a little bit of a cakewalk, and he hasn't had the Dodgers, the Yankees roll through, the Phillies, anything like that, right? So I don't know exactly where to go in this one. I believe that same game he pitched against Robbie Ray and that was a win for San Francisco. I almost want to say Arizona team total over because they do hit lefties well, and Robbie Ray doesn't have the best of numbers against them, but it is still Robbie Ray, right? So I like the idea of a potential look there at Arizona. One spot that I could maybe get behind, and it is a big maybe, would be a Robbie Ray walks line. I know that's kind of weird, but has at home this year on the road, over an 11% walk rate, which isn't all that great if you don't know. In terms of what we have from the Arizona side of things, when they're at home against lefties, they're walking 9% of the time. That is good enough for fourth over the last 30 days in the big. So yeah, we'll see. I think right now you're probably getting a super juiced 1.5, but maybe it's like Robbie Ray and maybe, I don't know, hits allowed or something like that. I think that he could allow something today. So I'll go Arizona. I don't know what to do with the total. I'm going to lean over because, again, I'm kind of backing Arizona for their offense, and I think Robbie Ray, as good as he is, isn't in the best situation. But you could probably tell a little conflicted in this one. Seattle taking on Kansas City. Now, still waiting on the confirmed starter. I've seen Brian Wu as well as Logan Evans listed as a starter. So we'll see who's starting for Seattle here. Yesterday, we had the first 3 under in this game. That was good. It was actually a very low-scoring game in general. I don't necessarily love either side here, but I don't mind the idea of another under. If it is Logan Evans, he has a big enough pitch mix to kind of mess with this Kansas City team. And speaking of pitch mix, I mean, what is Seth Lugo throwing like 8 pitches this year if you include the splitter? I think he throws out like less than 1% of the time, but still he has thrown it. So he's thrown 8 pitches this year. It's absolutely crazy. He should be able to figure out a way to kind of beat around the bush with the Seattle team. So I don't mind the idea of an under, but if I had to pick a side, I guess I would, look at follow the plus money. If you can get Kansas City for decent odds, sure. I think Lugo might have the advantage over either one of these pitchers, even though Wu has been good. But if it's Logan Evans, that might be I might be looking at Kansas City for the plus money, but a low scoring game nonetheless. And the odds the line's already there. It's at 7 right now in books. I have seen some 7.5s out there, but still, it's like this one. The books may have beat us to the punch. Dodgers taking on the White Sox. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, maybe this is somewhat of a parlay piece on the Dodgers side of things. Aaron Savali's on the mound. He has some rough numbers over his career against this Dodgers squad. In terms of, what we'll see out of him is going to be the cutter. They hit that okay. I mean, there's no pitch that this Dodgers team doesn't really hit all that well, and he's really struggled on the road this year. I almost was thinking about getting to an over here because I don't love Dustin May, and he throws that slider a ton. Weirdly enough, and you can see it in the dashboard here, the Chicago team, all they can hit right now is the slider. So maybe they get a couple off of him, but not enough to really fully trust it, right? And I feel like they did just kind of explode offensively in a sense, scoring 4 yesterday. So maybe an overlook could be here, but to me, it's just Dodgers parlay piece or nothing. I don't think this is the best of games ultimately overall. So yeah, we'll see what we end up doing. Like I said, maybe we throw this in, but as of right now, I don't know if I totally love it because there's not as much, even if we were to do one of those slimy little parlays, or is Houston that much of a favorite and that type of thing to be able to throw in with this? I guess potentially, but you never know what can happen in course. So we'll see what we end up doing with this. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you guys are using that hashtag right of the day and commenting. And yeah, go check out FadeMe.store. Check out the dashboard, everything we talked about in today's video. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.